Good morning, Sully.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, everything is up. Everything is up and nothing is down. It's a beautiful day. It was a great week 2 in South Jersey football.
Where were you at last night?
Timber Creek and Cherokee.
So what was your impression of that game? Obviously, Timber Creek, they're one of those teams that they're going to get everybody's best week in and week out because everybody wants to be that team that can knock off the number 1 team in South Jersey. And a couple close games to start off the season. They took it down to the wire with Delsey, and last night had to come back against a pretty tough Cherokee team.
Yeah, I believe it was the great Ric Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And, Timber Creek's the man right now, and they have been for quite a while. But, you're leaving this out too, Sully. They went out to St. Louis by bus for the 0 week to play.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So, it's been a pretty fast-paced first 3 weeks for them, and they succeeded and passed with flying colors. I don't think last night was beautiful. I think it was a very good game, hard fought with 2 very good teams who maybe, if you saw them in the beginning of November, you'd see a stellar game. Still a lot of kinks being ironed out, and I think both are 2 of the best teams in South Jersey. But Timber Creek got it done, and they've had a lot of new starters in the lineup. They've had to kind of figure out how the line was going to get together there on the offensive line against a very good front for Cherokee last night, who pressured Devin Leary a lot in the first half. But you get through tests, and like anything in life, man, if you get through adversity, you grow exponentially. And if things are easy, you don't grow so much. And Timber Creek has grown exponentially in the first 3 weeks, I think. And now, as Kevin mentioned, the schedule kind of tapers off a little bit. I expect them to continue to do what they've done for the last couple of years here and keep winning.
Were you a philosophy major in college?
I absolutely was, as a matter of fact. I absolutely was a philosophy major.
Well, when you're talking about a team like Timber Creek, when you go through that kind of winning streak, there's going to be games where you're going to have to win ugly, and that's really what keeps a winning streak going. So congrats to them for really getting through a game that maybe they didn't play their best.
Yeah, I mean, you can only win so ugly in a football coach's mind because a win's a win. That's the old cliche. But sometimes winning ugly is, in my opinion, it's kind of a nice thing because you can say, well, we didn't even play our best and we won the game. So we must be pretty tough, if we do play our best. It's kind of what Devin Leary referred to last night when I talked to him after the win. Look, he basically said, look, we've shown some pretty good moments here. We haven't put it together, so I'm excited that when we do, look at the possibilities. And I think that it is sometimes comforting to get through a game where, you probably played a C game, and on the other side, Cherokee, I'm sure, feels the same way, and is probably a little bit more upset that they played a C game, but still, lots to build off for both these folks.
How about Gateway with a 6-0 win over Deptford? Got to give some love out to the Gators.
How about the Gators of the Swamp? Good start for Gateway. I believe they're 2-0.
Not necessarily a team you think about when you think about football. I mean, they're more of a wrestling school, but good to see them get a couple of wins. Sometimes they have some real tough seasons, but nice to get off to a good start for those guys. Yeah,
they are more of a wrestling school. Jim Rutter does a great job there with the wrestling program, and is a state champion last year. But you're right. And look at Gateway and then Sterling also. These are 2 teams we don't traditionally think about as part of the mix in terms of football. But both are 2-0, I think. I know Sterling is. Sterling with a big 21-0 win over Cinnaminson last night. Cinnaminson beat Willingboro in week 1. Not to go through the transitive property, but it seems like Sterling's pretty sound. And, it's nice to see those schools, especially the smaller schools, start to develop something, and we can kind of witness it move forward from here.
Talk with Mark Trible of the Courier-Post. And, Mark, it's a game we didn't really touch on with Kevin, but I found pretty interesting Woodbury, man, the Thundering Herd. They came out really nice win on the road at Pennsville, which is not an easy place to win at, and they come out with a 34-26 win. So real nice job to get the first win for Woodbury.
Yeah, Pennsville is a difficult place to play. I know that they're kind of going through their own adjustment process, new coaching staff at some point there. But that takes nothing away from the win that Woodbury had. And you got to realize this, Sully. When we got off the phone last week, I watched Woodbury lose 32-0 at home against their arch rival, Paulsboro. And the game was never really close. So to pick yourself up from that, go on the road in a tough environment, and to take a win from Pennsville, that tells you a lot about Woodbury. That's another one we talked about on the field and what teams have shown. I think that shows you a lot about Woodbury's character, the intangible, that these guys are going to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and they should be a contender in Group 1. Obviously, Paulsboro's still there, and they rolled past Gloucester last night. But it tells me a lot about what Woodbury's got in the locker room as well.
I tell you what, Mark, that's kind of seems to be the theme of week 2 is the ability to bounce back and not to save your season because it's only week 2, but to really get a confidence-building win. You saw teams like Delsea come back from that loss to Timber Creek, and St. Augustine Prep had a real tough showing in the week 0 game against Malvern Prep. They've come back with 2 straight wins. So a lot of these teams really getting wins when they kind of have to here early in the season.
Yeah, Shawnee as well, after a 1-point loss in overtime to those Cherokee Chiefs last week. Highland gutted one out against Cherry Hill West, which is always a tight game. I think that the point is not that anybody's going to win anything in week 2, but the point is that you could certainly lose some things in week 2. Some of these schools, if they lose a couple early, they're right behind the 8 ball. And you can't count on a 6-game winning streak in a game of inches. I don't think. So you're right. These are teams that have put themselves in a nice position, and I'm sure the coaches are happy with the ability to bounce back.
Mark, what was the over-under in the Triton Pennsauken game?
Well, it went way over. And
91 points in that game, over 60 in the first half.
A guy we're both very, very familiar with and whom I worked with, Tom McGurk, went to Triton. And so we were texting about it last night. The only Triton game I've covered in my time at the Courier was against Highland. It was in a monsoon, and the final score was 2-0. Triton won the game. And the best part about that game was there was a play that was almost a safety, or could have been ruled a safety in the first half against Highland. And an assistant coach or an AD or somebody from Triton looked at me and said, if we'd have gotten that, I think we would have won the game. And then the next quarter they did get a safety and did win the game 2-0. So the only Triton I know is the one that wins by a couple key runs, not even scores. But last night, yeah, they just blew up, man, and a ton of points. Good for them. Good for the Mustangs.
Now, Mark, before we let you go, how's the preview show? I guess this is what, Facebook Live you're doing it on?
Yeah, Josh Friedman and myself every Wednesday. We hope to keep it in the same slot every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on our Facebook page, and that Facebook page is facebook.com/SJ Gridiron Gang. We'll be doing a Facebook Live segment. So, last year we recorded the preview show, and this year it'll be live. Now, you will be able to watch it after the fact. We'll have it on the website and all that. But we hope to get fans on there who ask some questions, and somehow, some way, I can kind of read them off the screen, and we'll give some off-the-cuff answers or whatever we know. So this is a good exercise, Sully, talking to you, because you always have the curveballs, and I can figure out how to think on my feet.
I might come up with a pseudonym and throw some questions in there for you.
Hey, please do, man. The more the merrier. And it's nice. I know with Periscope last year and the year before, Periscope's been a very attractive thing also. the nice thing about Facebook Live is, and I'm not shelling for them, obviously, but most of the accounts, it's like people aren't really going to go to the trouble to create a Facebook account to like troll you in the comments. So
right.
Usually the comments are pretty respectful.
Well, if you see a question from an obscure 70s or 80s baseball player name, you know it's me, like Tim Stoddard or something like that.
It's Bert Blyleven.
Bert Blyleven.
I hope it is.
Lamar Hoyt.
Lamar Hoyt. Just change your name on your Facebook profile for about the 15 to 20 minutes we'll be on the air, and your picture, then switch it back.
Mark, my challenge to you is by the end of the season, get Josh Friedman in a sweater vest.
Yeah.
That's your challenge. If you could pull that off, I'll hook you up with a Glory Days T-shirt.
Oh, that's what it's going to take after all these years. Okay. I'll do what I can. I want that T-shirt real bad.
All right, man. Good stuff as always, Mark. We appreciate it. Up against the break, but have a great weekend, man.
Hey, Sully, you have a great week. I look forward to talking to you next Saturday.
Thanks, bud. That was Mark Trible of the Courier-Post.